Welcome to the Fourcast. Bring that beat back,
DJ.
Well, we review movies in a completely different way that you haven't heard before. Today is a throwback of all throwbacks. We'll be talking about Cooley High, reviewing this movie. If you ain't seen it yet, well, at least I ain't seen it since a little while ago, so I can't talk. But if you haven't seen it by this time, that's on you. But welcome to the show. Wilkes, how you doing?
Pretty good.
King Doc, excuse me, how you doing?
What up?
Texas A-Trap, he still hadn't changed it, so I guess it's for real.
Whole life.
He may change it after the night when he drink his last little bit of tea.
Whole life. Hey, let's not forget my cousin Terrence is down there.
Right on.
All right, so tonight reviewing a classic movie, Black Cinema. You can see the graphic behind me. I have two very well-known characters that have been in a variety of different movies. You know, this, like I said, I hadn't seen this movie. We talked about this last week, so for me, it was all fresh. I said before, I got a lot of questions I got to ask because a lot of stuff I'm not understanding. But those of you tuning in on Facebook, make sure to like, share. Tuning in on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell. If you're tuning in on the BSU Radio group on Facebook, make sure to follow those directions in the notes, because if you don't, it's going to look like this. It's going to say Facebook user. Peace and respect to you. I'm not sure who that is, but Big Illinois in the building. What's good? DJ Knox, Front Ground Records, thank you for coming through. So, just first off, man, I thought it was a movie definitely for that time, but also it relates to today still, and also it relates to a lot of different movies, which I don't know if we want to get into this now or later, but kind of movies that were, or TV shows that were impacted by Cooley High. But Wilkes, I'll go to you first. Give me your initial thoughts on it. Let me know also if you guys rewatched it again since you've already seen it before.
I definitely rewatched it because I haven't seen it in a long time. But so this is probably my third time watching it. For me, you know, of course, not being born in that era, but some parents that have lived through it and, you know, grown up in the 80s, you know, that skipping school in the beginning and kind of running off with your buddies and getting into trouble and things like that, you know, just kind of that carefree moment. Like, you know, you're supposed to be at school, but you're out doing wrong. You know, it was one of those moments in the series where I think, like you said, other movies have followed in that footstep. I mean, you can jump all the way to House Party. You can jump to School Days. I mean, it's just one of those things where I think Cooley High like kind of laid the groundwork for that. I mean, it was pretty good movie, pretty good kickoff, good start.
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah, this was, first of all, my first. I did rewatch it because it's been way too long since I had seen it. It's one of those movies, though, that if you're just scrolling through TV or whatever and you see that it's on, you'll stop down. You know, you may only catch it halfway through or whatever. But this is the first movie I've actually watched start to finish on YouTube. Because I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Right.
And so, yeah, I rewatched it. And as Wilk said, it did impact other movies and television series and whatnot to come. It also impacted the music industry. Boyz II Men had an entire album called Cooley High Harmony. So, yeah, it was an impactful movie. And in terms of Black culture, Black pop culture, if you don't know Cochise and Preach and them boys, you know, right. like Joe Biden said, you ain't black.
brother Joe.
Right.
All right, A-Trap. And I know you can have I'm going to be leaning on you. We could be leaning on you tonight because I know you lived in that city. It was filmed in Chicago, so.
I lived in that neighborhood.
I
lived in that neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I didn't have to watch it again. It comes on so frequently in Chicago. It's almost like a commercial. You know what I mean? At one point,
I thought I never saw the movie because I saw the beginning, and then I would only see the last 30 minutes of it, and I would see it in bits and pieces. And then when I finally watched it when I was 16, I was like, oh wow, I've watched this movie in segments the entire movie. So now I didn't have to watch it again. But like you guys said, this was a situation to whereas when you watch this, you see how this directly affected pop culture and how we always say every week that we affect popular culture as a community.
Right.
And you know, we talking about ditching school, we talking about regular people, and it actually did a disservice to a lot of movies that are being made today. You know why? I mean, the movies that are being made today did a disservice to this simply because this is one of the few movies in the history of America that starring black people that highlight regular black people. It wasn't no gangbangers. It doesn't feature gangbangers. It doesn't feature terrible black women, terrible black men. These are regular young people doing regular young people things. Right. Everybody in the United States of America, no matter what culture you're a part of, you can relate to Cooley High. Now, somebody like me, I grew up in the neighborhood, so I can relate to it a little more. But all three of you guys, y'all live in Texas.
Right.
And it was no problem translating anything. And that was something that you look at and you go, see, because I've been complaining, and then I'm going to be quiet. I've been complaining to myself and to others for about 15 years. The reason I hate TV now is there are no regular black people on TV. You're either the Jeffersons or you Sanford and Son. Mm-hmm. There is no King of Queens. King of Queens worked for UPS. His wife was a secretary. You cannot find that anywhere in America. Because even when, like some of my homies was like, well, what about Martin? Martin was a radio disc jockey. That's a well-paying job. And this lady was an ad exec, another well-paying job. And he escalated to a television show host. Those are not regular people. Yeah. That's what people aspire to be. And this is why I think our young people are affected by cinema and or television because it's not cool. You have to be Claire and Cliff Huxtable or you're going to be James and Florida Evans. Right? This movie said you could be a regular person and it's okay.
Yeah. Now, I would say this. They definitely were regular people. And I had to put down on my notes. I know these people later on in their acting career, but you could tell this was early on because some of them lines was like, I'm going to get you back. It was so delayed, but I get it. This is some of their early movies.
My wife 1975, man. Come on.
They said
calm down.
Piggyback off of that. You probably did pick up some of that, but because they said they did a lot of ad libs too as well. Sometimes they were too busy laughing at each other or laughing off the set. So a lot of that was a little ad lib. So if it looked a little weird, then it wasn't in the script. So just kind of went with it.
So Eric Monty was the screenwriter. This was based in Chicago in 1964. I had to look it up. Edwin Cooley High was an actual high school, but it shut down in 1979. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
So what? I guess I was after the movie. So did something happen or what?
No,
what
it was an antiquated school. It was replaced by this school called Near North Magnet High School. It was a vocational high school, teach auto mechanics, electronics, and things of that nature. But at that point, it was antiquated, and they said they were updating the school and opened up maybe like a quarter mile away near North High School, and they tore that down. You know, that field that I've referenced on several dozen occasions that me and Big Illinois walked across. I was like, we got to get across this field before they start shooting. That's where that field, it was called Carson Field. It was a football field, and that's where Cooley High stood.
Yeah. What's up, D? Great. Thank you for coming through. He said one of my favorite movies. So they skipped school to go to the zoo. Now, I don't know if I would have skipped school to go to the zoo, but I get it.
They got nothing else going on.
The zoo, the zoo is in the neighborhood, man. The school, the zoo is a quarter mile away from the zoo.
Okay. So it was because it was in the neighborhood. My question was, why was they running everywhere? Every time you see him, they was running. I was like, y'all can't walk? What happened to the walking?
They got to get back to school, man. They gotta hurry up.
So it was definitely some nostalgia there to see, and the music in this movie. I wanted to touch on this. The Motown music in this movie was golden. I mean, Motown definitely with some of the greatest hits of all time, and then to have it be the soundtrack of the movie, I'm sure during that time it probably was perfect, and it probably kind of pushed the movie along. Wilkes, I'm gonna go to you. I know you're a big music guy like myself. Some of those songs in the movie I thought were great, and they matched up well.
I mean, yeah, right off the beginning. I mean, when the opening with the Supremes, you even moved in. They threw in a little Stevie Wonder when he was little Stevie. Of course, you had a few Four Tops tracks that were in there. Of course, a real big one at the end, last song of the movie. And then that music is so significant. And when I hear it, because I grew up around that music, and family members and things like that went to skating rinks to that music, and as they called them back then, they had little house parties. But that music is timeless. I mean, it's in everything from commercials to movies that are being made today. I mean, you can watch something on Amazon right now, and it's going to have some classic track in there. So it's very significant music. I think it also carried the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Doc.
Yeah, that was my second note, soundtrack. My first note was Chicago, because I made sure you was gonna know where we was at. That was the longest intro I've seen in a long time. Like,
that was a TV show intro right there.
But the soundtrack was fantastic, and you want to talk about setting a scene and setting a mindset. I think music is a great storyteller anyway. So I think it was fantastic, and like I said, a very relevant part of the film. It wasn't wasted. Sometimes, because soundtracks became so popular, some movies got so wrapped up into the soundtrack, and it was useless. It didn't really, mean anything to the movie. It was just a soundtrack. It was just another way to sell something, off of the movie. It had no significance. So right. I think this was a very significant part of the movie.
Right. A-Trap.
Yeah, of course, man. The soundtrack was awesome with this, and it did walk you through the entire movie. Every stage of the movie had a song that played a role in what was going on at that point. And then it shows you also how awesome it just tells you the story of our community. Music is the soundtrack of our lives. Watching this movie and thinking about this movie takes me to when I read Russell Simmons' first book. And he started walking through his music career. And as he talked to Russell Simmons and Chuck D, as they were walking through their lives and music careers, and they mentioned music. And it literally took me into music videos, and it took me to segments of my life when that music was popular. And it took this, when y'all talk about the Four Tops and Stevie Wonder, it takes me back to 1655 West Hastings, my grandmother's place of residence. And I remember playing music at this it was like a little record player. It had the kind that ejected out of the thing. And I was listening to that Motown music. I didn't know what I was doing at that time, of course, but it just takes you back to that portion of your life and makes you remember the wonderful people and the wonderful time. So, man, it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. We got Wonga Williams. He said, "What's up?"
Pretty close.
No, that was perfect. That's exactly how you said it. I was like, my man.
He didn't believe in himself, though. Like I said, he had no confidence about that.
I knew the M was not there.
That's all you knew.
So I went away from the M.
I was like, man.
Question from D Gray. I think we kind of already answered this. Other than A-Trap, was this you guys' first time seeing the movie? This was my first time seeing the movie. Everyone else had already seen it.
Yeah, I'd seen it several times.
My third time,
but I did rewatch it.
Yeah. We got Lamar Williams. Also, we got Sharice.
That's another Williams. A-Trap, that's somebody else, that Lamar Williams, that's another Williams.
That's DJ Ramon.
Okay.
We got Sharice. I like that photo.
Sharice Jackson.
Very nice.
It looks like she backstage waiting for her turn to perform right behind These other
Right,
that's my dog, Sharice. That's my dog.
Like
Don't give her too many props. She'll be blowing up her phone talking about let me get on next week.
she at the Apollo. She rubbing that.
She rubbing. Don't give her too many props.
Yeah, Sharice is a singer's name, ain't it?
It is.
See, now she gonna be trying to get on the show next week. I'm telling y'all. See, she even said yes.
She ready. So music was definitely a very vocal point in this movie. And what better way to have a movie with a Motown soundtrack and just all of the songs played. Now, so Cochise, kind of getting into the characters, was a basketball star that was going to get a scholarship to Grambling. Preach, which I didn't understand necessarily why his nickname was Preach. I don't know if just because he talked a lot or.
Well, his dress too. He always, he had a shirt on, and so
that was kind of his. And then Pooter.
What'd you say?
That was his name, Pooter, right?
Okay, I needed to get you hear you clearly.
The guy that can never get a girl, man. But, man, why they got to treat that? Everybody else was getting the girl, and he was
he was working on the girl with the chips.
He was trying.
He was working on the girl with the chips.
That was his default. It's like he'd run out of options.
Right.
Yeah, he was
gonna eat these chips with that.
Yeah, he picked up the chip, but she wasn't even interested.
She was more interested in the chips than him.
Right, exactly. Definitely. Yeah, so that kind of gets into the characters, and this reminded me of Boys in the Hood because Ricky, who had the scholarship, he ended up being the one, which I read something on Wikipedia saying Singleton, I think he's seen this movie as kind of a comparison to Boys in the Hood. I don't know did you guys see that, now or in the past, A-Trap?
Almost definitely, man. I mean, you did it. I mean, Ricky is Cochise. Preach is
Cuba
Gooden Jr. And then their other friends are just ancillary people that just fall in.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, man. I mean, this and it was another movie. It's even with Menace.
Yeah.
You can look at this and see Menace to Society. He didn't get a scholarship, but he had finally got a way out of the hood, and he out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sadly enough, that story is all too common in society today. That's not a stretch, They're getting that from somewhere. But yeah, in terms of the characters and the characters' names, some of the best character names in film, period. Cochise individually, still one of the best character names, and they trusted us enough with that name to where they even shortened it through the film, calling him just Cheese, because they knew, what the deal was. They knew you were going to sit with it, I think it definitely is a correlation to some of those later movies that came along, like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society and whatnot. But character names, you can't touch it.
Yeah, definitely. Rucker Park in the building with the bangs, killing it with the bangs.
Oh, yeah, she applying pressure, ain't she?
Reddit Kev, make sure to check out his YouTube channel. He's doing YouTube videos. Also, let us know how your wife is, how she's doing. Now, the other part I kind of wanted to touch on in the movie. What I was going to say is that, A-Trap, a lot of things you have said, I could see relating to this movie, specifically the one with the car, because you told that story. Now, I don't know if you told that story relating to Cooley High or that was something.
No, that was my man James.
When somebody pulls up and it was like, oh, that's a nice car. It was like, yeah, go ahead and get in. And then from there on, that story was exactly the way you told it. And that kind of really brought up to my memory. Also, which this goes back to a lot of movies we've reviewed, Monster. It made me think of Monster when, he kept going along with the guy and eventually.
Right.
So I wanted to kind of talk about that scene. What was you guys' thoughts watching it after we reviewed some movies? Wilkes, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like what you were saying. Every movie, I think that besides maybe Godzilla, but Every movie that we've reviewed, even going back to the Little Things. Remember, he had what's his name get in the car. He had him get in the car with him.
Yep.
And you jump forward, you look at Concrete Cowboy, he pulls up.
Exactly.
Hey, get in the car. So it's like High on the Hog. Everything is centered around food. Everything is centered around, hey man, we're gonna take a ride. We're gonna go down the street. But you already know once you get in this car, man, whose car is this, man?
Nothing good
You
about
already know.
And they ain't even asked. They
They
just got in like, oh, that's nice.
And please don't think you're coming home soon because you ain't getting back through. Because your grandma already told you don't get in that car because you already know what's going on. So yeah, no, it's just it's a big significant symbol. It's always getting into the car, going somewhere, something happens. Oh, by the way, hand me that shovel back there.
Right.
You know, something crazy.
Right.
You know,
move that body aside. Right. That arm coming through the back to the trunk.
Yeah. Trust me, man. And that takes me back to when I was in school. I mean, I've seen many people get into the car with people that next thing you know, man, what happened to so? Oh, they had a wreck yesterday. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, so I mean, it's a significant scene that took me back. You know, and all those scenes because it's like, man, you get in that car. You know what's gonna happen. Something
is about to go down.
Right.
Doc.
Yeah, on the Queen 3 and King podcast, we had an episode called A Family Affair. And some of the greatest stories told and untold took place in a car.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is do not get in the car. And I'm gonna tell you what it is. I don't care who car it is.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna tell you like this again. Some of the greatest stories told and untold took place in cars. Yeah. And most of these cars was my family members' cars. We're not saying that these are strangers, right? Everybody knows don't get in the car with a stranger. I'm telling you, don't get in the car with nobody. If there's any questionable situation, family or not.
Cousin.
So
and then also, Monster, parent-wise, you know, your parents can tell you to get in the car, let's take a ride, because either we're going to talk or you better get dropped off at your daddy's house with the horses.
Yeah,
I go back again to Monster. A-Trap.
Oh yeah, the car is definitely a danger zone. I mean, hey, I had a couple stories. I got a story. Me and my cousin Mike. Don't get in the car. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I heard.
And there was some theft, and there was a lookout, and there was a jack left behind, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Don't get in the car.
To relate it to sports, there's a saying when passing was just becoming in vogue in the NFL, they were like, when you pass, 3 things can happen and 2 of them is bad, you know? So when you get in the car, 3 things can happen and 2 of them is bad.
Don't get in the car. And then when they told Preach to get in the driver's seat, you know, again, this is my first time watching. I'm like, okay, they're about to get pulled over and about to say, oh, it's all on him.
And how the hell did he get so good at driving so quick?
Right.
When he first got in the car, he could barely drive. All of a sudden, he can drive through tight open and U-turn. And I'm like,
somehow it clicked. He must have watched some movies or something. And then they're driving back and forth, in and out of buildings. And
so I watched. It's weird but something came up on YouTube after I got through watching it, and I guess they just did it last year. They had like a small reunion, and they said that Glenn or Preach in the movie, he was actually really driving like that through that warehouse.
Oh wow!
And they said there was one point in which I had to go back and watch it, but the guy that was in the front seat with him, I don't know if that was Stone or Robert. I think it was Stone maybe. But he said he started calling him by his real name because he was driving so crazy. He started calling him Glenn. He started calling him Glenn instead of Preach. So he had broke character.
Really? Did you go back and verify that?
Yeah. If you go back,
that was the case.
Yeah. If you go back to that scene
and
play that, you'll hear him call him Glenn like twice.
Wow.
And they said, and Lawrence, I think it's Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
Yeah, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
Yeah, he said like they had to do the scene because they had cameras on the hood, they had a generator in the back. He said it's not like today where they put the car on a rail or some stunt drive. He said they were actually doing that scene.
Wow.
And he was driving crazy, and he started calling him Glenn.
Wow.
Like, man,
that's wild.
A lot of ad lib stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Now I'm about to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
And here that he said that, but he was driving crazy. Now so the two guys that pulled up, obviously they were the questionable characters throughout the entire film. And so I'm thinking like they're lucky they got away, but obviously you know that is not over with. You know, eventually somebody will come up and somebody was gonna, figure out what was going on. Where was you at this point in time? So that was an important scene. Now I wanted to kind of rewind back a little bit where this guy's played in multiple roles. I don't know this guy's name, but I think he was the pimp. I don't even know if he was a pimp or he was just,
it's the guy from 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking about Stephen Williams, the one that played Jimmy Lee.
Yeah.
So he's a very, very accomplished career. He's been in quite a few good character role actor.
I would compare him.
He was the lead guy in that.
Yeah, I would compare him to Clifton Powell. That guy's played in Pinky and
he was actually in X-Files too. He had a significant role there. So he's accomplished actor for sure.
But when we talk about one-liners, ain't no Louise here, honky. That's you got that dude set up. So that was a one-liner that I definitely put down in my notes. So I was saying it was lucky they got away. Obviously, we'll get to that a little bit kind of later on and what ended up happening, which I'm sure most people already know. Spoiler alert. But sticking up. So I don't know how Pooter got that badge, but they end up sticking up the prostitutes. I thought that was a funny scene.
Man.
Yeah, the light skinned guy he didn't participate in it. It was basically preaching and Cochise.
Throughout the movie, Preach was the innovator. He was the one that had all the schemes and stuff, Right. Even later on when he was talking to Brenda, she's like, how you gonna make it? He goes, I'm good at stealing in line. I'm gonna always be all right.
Yeah. Shout out to Trade Naturals. Thank you for coming through. She said, hey. And my wife watched it with me. She watched probably half of it. And then she was like, why they got to be going after the light skin? I'm like, I don't know. Just watch the movie. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Why are they going after the dark skin one? I said, I don't know. I ain't seen this before. We got to watch it. Shaka. Shout out to Shaka. He actually came to Dallas a couple of weeks ago. We met up. But Shaka says, Black family speak on it. My major takeaway from the movie is in the neighborhood, the near north side transformations, plural, from the making of the movie today in 2021. Myself and A-Trap fully aware of the change. You want to speak on that or add to that?
Yeah, man. Well, Jimmy Lee was my man. Wayne. I almost called him Wayne Bell. Wayne Cook, Brian Cook. They family owned that building until like 2 or 3 years ago. They lived there. They still live there. I mean, that whole neighborhood is going through an insane transformation. Believe it or not, that is just south of one of the more affluent neighborhoods in the United States. In the United States of America, it's called the Gold Coast. Remember I was telling you guys when I was in Texas, you cross the street. You literally cross the street, you're in a whole nother world. And it was one of the most unique neighborhoods in Chicago. Chicago is an extremely segregated city. And when you're dealing with Chicago, you have racial lines literally that cross the streets. If you cross one street, I'm talking about literally one avenue, you're in a different world. And that whole neighborhood, people like me, Big Illinois, Shaka Strong, we didn't eat McDonald's. We didn't eat Burger King. We ate Jerry's. That place that lady was supposedly on, that was a place called Jerry's. And the place when they jump on the back of the bus behind them, it's a place called Sammy's. They just closed a couple of years ago. So we were a self-contained unit. You got your clothes dry cleaned by somebody who looked like you. The grocery store, Terry Collins, somebody looked like you. Jerry's brother named Jerry owned a sit-down restaurant and a quick fast food hamburgers, hot dogs kind of restaurant. So yeah, and now it is one of the most gentrified neighborhoods in America. Like you go over there now, like if you look at that neighborhood, right where that restaurant was, me and Big Illinois lived across the street. You go over there now, there's a sushi place. We had our own nightclub. It was a sushi place. And this was an extreme middle class community where it was just good people, go to work every day, get off at 5 o'clock, came back, everybody showed love. To I could walk through that neighborhood right today, and 99% of the people don't know me. And none of the people look like me. The Oscar Mayer factory, where all y'all get y'all Oscar Mayer hot dogs, was right in that neighborhood. When you see that train go through the neighborhood, when you see that train going through what it was like a tunnel above ground, that's the Oscar Mayer factory. That was right behind Cooley High. Wow. So it's now it is a chain grocery store called Jewel. It is a yes indeed, Samuel's on Division. It is. We used to have our own Chester's Pizza, black-owned pizza, black-owned Chinese food, black-owned some of the best barbecue. Like I told y'all last week, you say Farmer Brown's, and you might get somebody from the near north side go, don't say that, because they hurt. A homeboy that literally drove the equivalent from Austin, Texas to Dallas, Texas to get back. They were in the dorms, and was like, let's go get some Farmer Brown, and drove the 3 hours there and back. 4 or 6 hours there and back. Wow. That's serious right there. Self-contained community. You know how people be like, man, I wish the black people just worked together and shop with ourselves. Hey,
we did.
That's what it was. That's what it was. And people go, it was so long ago. I'm like, no, that was the 80s where I lived. You know, and then the crazy part is, this is why I fight so hard about the image of Chicago, because y'all watching the movie, and the movie is insanely accurate. And I'll tell y'all, remind me to mention how accurate the movie is. It's gonna shock y'all. That Good Times projects that everybody's scared of, was on the other side of the street of Cooley High.
And in the opening, they zoomed in on that. That's the project, and they're from Good Times. Yeah, they zoomed in on that.
Well, what was the name of that project?
Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Green, yeah.
Yep. So don't forget to remind me. Don't let the show end without me showing y'all how insane, how close it was to real.
Well, my baloney has a first name, it's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name, it's MEYER. I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say Oscar Mayer has a way of DNA.
Yeah, y'all don't know about
that. Shaka is a good point. Gold Coast is like Highland Park in Dallas. I mean, actually, it's probably Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff is probably that area that is being gentrified to the nth degree.
But see, Highland Park was gentrified. You just don't know it. You can't see it, right? There was a lot of black homeowners in Highland Park, and in fact, the smart ones or the fortunate ones who were lucky enough to hold on to their homes, man, they got paid because you know they were selling these to people who would come in. There were small homes, and you go to Highland Park now, and there's still some real small homes there that haven't sold out yet, but surrounded by these huge homes. They just want the land, and then they make these huge homes over there. So again, it was one of the first gentrified neighborhoods in Dallas.
There's a neighborhood like that on the edge of South Dallas at 45. I can't think of the name of it, but it was a neighbor, and they have a marker like when you pull into that neighborhood, and it is a prominent neighborhood of like they said it belonged to, like they said doctors live there, and this was a black community. They were saying like black doctors are there, professors. They said like judges were there. So they're trying to protect that area of South Dallas, that community that's still there, and they have a placard. But I mean, some of those houses over there are really nice, and you know, it's just one of those communities, like you said, like it was a tight knit thing. You know, luckily they're not trying to go in, bulldoze, and renovate, but they're still trying to keep that piece of, you know, that small black community that's still there now.
Yeah, I definitely see it. Even in Oakland, in the Bay Area where I'm from, a lot of areas over there are being flipped and gentrified. Shaka, Farmer Brown, straight fire. See, you got
that ain't what he said.
What?
He said straight fire. It ain't that, you know. See,
he got the fire emoji.
You need to talk like Trey, not Ben. Straight fire. It's okay. I know you and Will got some of your workers that may be watching this. You're trying to keep your little supervisor position and stuff like that. It's straight fire. No, man, that ain't what he's saying.
Fire. Row houses, H-Rock.
Yeah, that's called the Wild End. That was called. It's still standing to this day. It's one of the few housing projects that's still standing to this very day. You can go over there, and just to show you how night and day Chicago can be, you can look out of your window in the projects and look right at a Ferrari dealership.
Wow.
And you're not old enough to remember this, Ben, but if you ever heard of this basketball player, Michael Jordan replaced him. His name is Reggie Theus.
Oh yeah, I heard him.
Okay, they used to call him Rush Street Reggie because that was the cool hangout spot. If you had some bread, you went on Rush Street. Rush Street was right down the street. So you got one of the most notorious housing projects right here. And if you start running real fast, right around the time you get tired, you're looking at a millionaire in his face.
Wow.
Yeah.
And great
high school is across the street.
Great point you bring up, Reggie Theus. Shout out to him. He's coaching. We will be coaching at Bethune-Cookman this upcoming year.
I read that today.
And he's gonna be the AD. So that's
what's up.
That's what you've been talking about.
I told you, man. You see what Big Illinois said.
Yeah. Sure enough. Hey, we may need to review that.
Kiss my
Remember I told you about that stick up with the chicken.
Yeah.
Now the lady with the meat cleaver. What was the name? What was the name of that? Martha's. What was the name of that restaurant? Was that
That was a fictitious restaurant. That would be like either Jerry's sit down restaurant or his stand up restaurant. And we knew a lady. I can't think of her name right now. God rest her soul. Big Illinois used to frequent the restaurant so much. One day he was like, "Hey man, you want me to buy you lunch?" I was like, "Yeah." So I called the number and I gave his order first. And she said, "You want anything else, Anthony?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He was on a first name
basis.
basis.
Community, man.
Yeah, that was one of my notes on the movie is the places in the movies, like Martha's and then Robert's Lounge, in the movie, and I knew, the names may have been made up, but the places were very similar to the places that they probably had back then. In fact, Dallas had a couple of spots like that that my papa used to take me to even as a kid, in Oak Cliff and stuff like that he used to go to. So those are some places that we just don't have enough of nowadays, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
In fact, Ben, I don't know if you've went to French Quarter Bistro here in Forney, but it's kind of set up that way where you got the sit down counter. And then you got the seats along the side. That is a very throwback restaurant design.
Yeah. We went there. We didn't actually eat there, but we got it to go. But it's hitting. French Quarter Bistro, get at us. We may need to do a on spot location.
Yeah,
get that rice with that sauce on it, man.
Yeah, that's that. What they call that? That creamy goodness is what they call it. Yeah,
that kind of remind me of Giant Burgers. Is a place in the Bay Area that had that same kind of feel. Right across from my high school, they actually had seating outside, like bar seating outside, where you could sit and order your food through the window when you walk up. So yeah, it kind of. But it was a couple of funny scenes there. One when Preach was shooting dice in there, and she came with the meat cleaver.
Right. The
other time when he was running away from.
And he ran in the restroom.
Right.
When the girl was using it.
Yeah.
So if y'all wanted to add anything on to that, but there was a couple. That was a very key point. A lot of major things happened at that spot, either starting or kind of ending from that spot. So, Wilkes, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and it may not be touching on that exactly, but I was just looking at the different women that were in these movies. I mean, the hair was natural, the faces. I mean, they literally had like small acne. Like, I mean, everything was, there was no touch up. No, I'm not trying. This is me. I'm being natural. This is it. Just all those different scenes. But that was a funny scene though when he's running from the Stone and Robert trying to get away. So I'm thinking, why he just didn't run right out of the building? But he guess it wouldn't be as funny. So he had to dart to the restroom with her, and she beating him with the brush to get out. The lights go off. I'm like, man, what is going on in here, man? I'm like, it was just a funny moment. But just seeing that, and just like I said, some things that I grew up watching when I was in school, and watching kids run from the principal and running from the teachers and things like that. You're like, oh man, running through the cafeteria. It's just little small things. How that's like it falls in line with maybe everybody's situation was different, but it still reminded me of those things. So it was pretty funny to see that.
Yeah. Doc.
Yeah. Obviously, I loved Martha. She was like as the restaurant owner, I would just assume, but she still kind of played everybody, mama, grandmama, auntie, kind of situation. She had that relationship with her, because even in part of it, when he was going to stop, when he was first shooting dice, I think Cheese told him, hey, Martha said she catch you shooting dice again, you out here, you ain't gonna be able to come back or whatever. And so that kind of set up what kind of relationship she had with him. And then in that scene, when she was stuck, he was like, open the side door for me, please, Martha. And she was like, just looked at him, like, Martha, please. You could tell that they just had that kind of relationship, that she was hard on him, but she was hard on him because she wanted more for him, and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. One of the notes that I put for that and the house party, which we don't have enough house parties anymore, but anyway, that and the house party was, I said, bras and panties done come a long way from where they was, because every bra and panty said was period panties. I mean, the bra and panty scenes was in
there. A-Trap, you want to add?
Me with some old looking high schoolers too.
Really? It was like this dude got a straight perm and a beard.
Hey, but you know what, man? It's looking at this stuff, man. Whoever, maybe it was just because this is one of the times where low budget was perfect.
Yeah,
because like when y'all talking about Martha, it's some Marthas in our neighborhood. Her name was Mabel, and like Big Illinois said, Big T's mom was like that. You show up at Jerry's, you don't order $8 worth of stuff, you only got $6.50. Come on, give me that.
Right.
It was just like that. Everybody knew your moms. Got a real close friend named Emmanuel. Somebody put something in a drink of his once at school, and he got super duper high. And every time I see him, he's like a brother. Every time I see him, he reminds me of how he was standing on the train about to pass out, and my mom caught him and just pretty much carried him home. Because we had these buildings that was 3 inches. Big Illinois lived on the left, Emmanuel lived in the middle, and I lived on the right. And his grandmother, who he lived with, was friends with my mother, and she took him home. And I mean, without fail, if Emmanuel was watching this now, he would say, "Yep." And it was low budget. This was the perfect situation in regards to low budget, and in regards to those fishnets and that perm. It's this dude named DMC and Gerb. Me and Big Illinois grew up with. They was doing that in the 80s. They looked just like dudes in the 80s. When you look back at this movie, it's like, was this in 85 or 75? Right. It was supposed to be in 65, but it's just it's the neighborhood I was raised in. It wasn't the neighborhood I was born in. I'm like, man, I transplanted when I was 10, but everything about this movie is what me and Big Illinois grew up in.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking at some of the house parties, especially that significant one. Now, we didn't have the house parties where we paid 50 cents to get into, but
right, exactly.
We did have the house parties where, man, I don't know, you dancing with the wrong girl. Like, homeboy show up to the party and go well.
Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody parents maybe coming back home early.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
all right, watch this, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all a number and watch Big Illinois to tell you and just say, hey, Big Illinois, what's the number of the house, what building was the best house parties in? And Big Illinois can tell you because it's this song, The Percolator, and this girl was doing it one day. He said,
But now it's called a twerculator.
Yeah.
That's when the percolator came when this girl started doing the percolator, and Big Illinois is like, that's that blah 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 percolator. I just gave y'all the number. If he's still watching, he'll be able to tell you.
Yeah, he just mentioned something about house parties. House parties in that pool hall was on point.
Yeah.
The cost the cost of everything in this movie was I don't think I ever paid some of those amounts for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was crazy. You want me to say, I know you put that in the comments.
Nah, that's your building, so that's another.
You said 11-17. But yeah, the prices of how much some of the things cost. I think when they were at the zoo, what was it, like 25 cents or something to get in the zoo, or 15
No,
cents?
it's free to get in the zoo.
It was free. Okay, so that was the popcorn he was buying. I think or hot dog he was buying.
Yeah,
was somewhere right. It was less than 30
with no
cents.
ketchup.
That he was he was just really trying to distract her while they were still in the skins, you know.
And then talk louder so she can't hear the bag.
Hey, these dudes was definitely clever, man. They was definitely playing the game. All right, let's go to the movie scene.
Hang on a second. Man, I just need you to say, don't go too far before you get Beauty of the Week out the way. Because if you go to the movie scene, that means we about at the halfway point. So
we about at the halfway point. Okay, I'll bring it to you, Doc.
Well, I mean, it's obvious who the Beauty of the Week is. I think Miss Suttereth probably recognized it herself, but obviously Brenda, played by Cynthia Davis, is the Beauty of the Week. Preach recognized it early, and was able to land it, but screw it up all at the same time. So Cynthia Davis is the Beauty of the Week, no doubt. And strangely enough, Cynthia Davis, this was her only film. She disappeared after this. She has not been in anything else. And they are actually, like during the reunion and some other things, they're trying to find her, but she just doesn't like the spotlight. And she's out of it, so I don't think they've seen her, actually. There's some speculation as to what she's doing, et cetera, but Cynthia Davis was it, and it was obvious, head and shoulders above the competition.
Big Illinois agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Preach wasn't gonna get her at all. And then I turn around and I'm like, man, she gave in pretty quick. I thought she would have fought a little bit longer.
See, it's that poetry. Poetry get them every time. Why do you think I dabble a little bit? You got to keep your limerick game tight. Shit.
Gotta keep that pen game strong.
Yeah, you got to.
Man. All right, the movie scene, A-Trap. I know you talked about this. I'm gonna kind of take it to you to lead us through that.
Oh, that movie scene was it. I mean, but again, man, this is it's accurate. It's all get out. That theater, it used to be directly across this kitty corner from another theater. That was called The Woods. There's another theater called United Artists. And this one game was that was their downtown Chicago. I ain't gonna say their name. It was the Blue and Black gang, and they controlled the downtown streets. But amazingly, the Red and Black gang would show up a lot. But it was as this happening every Easter in Chicago. The Blue and Black gang down there. And if you went down there, you have a blue and black or black and red, you were cool. But every year we would go down there and be like, hey, they don't want those black and red guys getting beat to sleep. It was so to see that being older and to see that. And I was like, yeah, that's about how it went. But I remember once I was reciting those lines, and Uncle Theotis almost choked me to death, man. Shout out to Uncle Theotis, man. But he threatened my life with a bat.
What was funny to me about that theater scene is that the rival gangs did not know the other gang was in the theater until they started hollering out. I'm like, how y'all gonna be rival gangs and not recognize none of the members? And then when they got to fighting, Yeah.
Chicago has the weirdest. I mean, like after talking to D-Grade and other gang people throughout the world, Chicago gangs have these weird boundaries that it's unreal. I mean, it's so regimented. Like you could go over here and you could be in the other gang. Now, if you don't say you're in that other gang, we can know you're in another gang. But as long as you don't say it, we ain't gonna kill you. The moment you say it, you tell God I say hi.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird.
So it's I'm telling you, you can walk past them all day, and as long as you don't go, I'm in the other gang now, chump. They'll be like, they will look at you. Yeah, he another gang. And then it seemed like that dude would be looking at you like, I know y'all staring at me. And I know y'all know I'm in the other gang. I'm in. Get beat up. I guess he went home and was like, I got beat up. I'm better than y'all. Yeah. See? Easter was real.
Yeah, that fight scene in the movie theater, that was the weakest fight scene I done seen in a movie in my entire life.
It was just a bunch of people, arms moving, and people just like,
and they were moving slow. You know, I can take them blows.
So that was an accurate situation.
Yeah,
that was the balcony.
Yeah.
So you could see something like that happening, or something like that.
Could you? They probably had a knife fight. No, but yeah, man. You just had to go down. Hey, man, you went down there in neutral clothes, or you got beat the hell beat out of you, man. I mean, if you dressed in blue and black, and the irony is, they don't say those gangs now. Like on Chicago PD, this is a gang called the Four Corner Hustlers. They be like the Hustlers, and it's the gang called another thing. I don't want to say their name, and they will call them something else. But in that movie, that Disciples is a real gang.
Now, what was the other gang
in America?
What was the other gang? Did you say Towns?
Counts.
Okay, I was like, I couldn't hear what he said. So yeah, that was, and again, one of the guys in the crew was involved. He was trying to get some popcorn because he had a girl with him. So what else he gonna do? He gotta get something to eat, get something to drink. D. Gray said we had movie joints like that in downtown Los Angeles with balconies. I don't even know the movies I've been in. Really, it just had the kind of the stairs going up. I don't really remember the balcony theaters. Facts. Rats running all around the theater.
Since you and Wilkes are younger, I can give y'all some information on the theater situation and why that fight happened. When me and Dolph were young, I'm assuming it was like that in Texas. When me and Dolph were younger, you can get to the movie at 3:00 and walk out of there at 9 and watch that movie 4 times.
Oh, we were movie hopping. We could just go to a different one.
Oh no, it wasn't no. You see,
it wasn't no second.
It was that screen, Jack.
One screen.
It was one theater. It was a movie, a cartoon that lasted about 20 minutes, and another movie, and then the first movie came back on. You don't even have to show up at the theater on time. If the movie started at 2, you walk in there at 2:45, and then just sit there until 45 minutes after that movie go out. It was plenty of times that we walk in there late. Oh yeah, we'll just sit here, watch the movie, come back. You can sit there all day. You get there at 9:00 in the morning. You can leave at 9 at night.
Floor was sticky.
Oh yeah, that Woods Theater. You should wear some old shoes in that because the rats was gonna run across your feet and your feet was gonna be stuck to the floor.
Wow.
And the screen had a hole in it. Hey, y'all ready for this part? That wasn't a hood theater. That was downtown Chicago.
Wow.
The neighborhood that me and Big Little grew up in, our theaters were dope. The Village, we had 4 or 5 theaters. It was like old school now.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
So that was
we're not gonna fix it. We'll leave a hole in there.
Yeah. We'll just put some duct. Well, maybe not enough duct tape. We'll just put some Scotch tape on there. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Mr.
A good part right there.
Mr. Mason, Garrett Morris.
Yeah,
man, he's another one of those actors that's been in so many different things.
Yeah.
He's 84 years old now, and he's still. I've seen him in something. I think he's acting in something recently. He's playing a recurring role on something, but that playing the young teacher, I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah,
and a lot of the roles he's been in.
Yeah, didn't he play in Martin as his boss? And then he played in Jamie Foxx show as the hotel owner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Married to the chick. Yeah.
He was on SNL for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, Garrett Morris is for sure one of those classic black actors, man, that's been around forever.
Yeah.
I got one for Dog. He was Boney James on Hunter.
Was he?
He was the dude that Antonio Farkas played on Starsky and Hutch, the snitch.
Mm-hmm.
That was his role on Hunter.
Okay, gotcha.
So you young street punks don't understand that.
Hey man, Starsky and Hutch, baby.
Starsky and Hutch rerun still come on, man. Come on now.
the Huggy Bear, he was the McVicker. Oh my God. You had to fight rats up in there.
You had to fight.
You sit down, there'd be a rat sitting there. Hey man, sit down, stop making noise.
He was like, hey, this is the good part here, man.
Right. Good part.
The rat trying to offer you juju bees or something.
This boy said juju bees.
Okay, look, let's this is a complete tangent I'm about to go on right now. The Wilkes, we had this conversation at work numerous times with all of our coworkers.
No kidding.
Not got all the coworkers involved, dog.
Red vines or Twizzlers. I said it's random or neither.
Do you even know what red vines are, A-Trap?
We used to call them shoestrings.
Yeah, that's Twizzlers to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's Twizzlers, but they were just individuals.
Yeah, but these red vines, I don't even know what red vines are.
Well, let me pull up a picture. I guess I'm not gonna refresh y'all memory on this. I'm gonna learn y'all something new.
I had never heard of red vines, so I met Ben. It was always Twizzlers. I don't eat either one of them, but
that must just be a Cali thing then, because it's hard to find them here. It's hard to find them here. One screen with at least 3 movies. If you walk in late, you stay until the movie came back on and leave on the part. Yeah, that's the same thing. Same thing you said, A-Trap. Yes, Mr. Mason was pulling for Preach. He was pulling for Preach and Coach Cheese, and that brings to that point of when they were in the precinct and Mr. Mason is smoking with the detective. Like, come on, let these guys go, man. Come on, it was just Joe riding. Just let these guys go. Yeah. Now the other two was like, hey,
they already had a rap sheet.
He did kind of fight for them, but he was on his way out the door. He was like, well, whatever they get, they get. But I thought that was dead on right there, and he helped them, helped them get out. And I thought Mr. Mason, when he was talking to, I think he was talking to Preach in the bathroom at the school. Yeah, that was a scene similar to Monster again, when kind of the dad was talking to him. Or when Nas was talking to him, like, hey, like, what do you want to do? Right. Because he came up with a class kind of answer. I want to live forever.
Yeah, and that shook him too. That shook Mr. Mason, because that answer was deep. He was basically just taking it. You fussing at me, telling me about my potential, telling me how smart I am. You miss all these tests. You don't even try, et cetera, et cetera. What do you want out of life? I want to live forever. And basically, he was trying to tell him, do this stuff really matter? That's why I don't put what I need to put into it, is because I see something higher, and shoot, when he said that, man, I was like, shut Mr. Mason straight up.
Yeah, he was like, ooh, okay. Well, I'll see you later, man.
I'm with you, big enough. He said that scene got to him when he watched it a few months ago. I'm 100% with you. That was strong. That was one of those little moments in the movie to where, we've been all having this high energy, et cetera, but they dropped these little nuggets from time to time, and that was a nugget right there, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That, you know what? that this the age right black history moment, but this they kind of the whole scene what they were talking about kind of reminds me of, I've mentioned this on the show a few times, when W.B. Du Bois say, yes, at some point these laws will come down and the integration will take place. You need to define who you are, because at some point our kids will become disinterested, drop out, and not want to be involved in school. And that was a perfect example of it. They are learning, and they've been doing studies. They did a study in Harlem and they did a study in LA where Black and Latino kids, if once they were start to be taught about their history, they were fully engaged and their grades got improved. And Preach wasn't engaged because, like Doc just said, this ain't important to me. This ain't gonna help me be great. This is, as I can't remember who said this. They said schools, the same schools. I can't remember who said it, but it's not an HROC quote, so please don't attribute it to me. He said the same school that teaches white kids how to be great teaches our kids to be failures, to become second-class citizens, because they're looking at everything that's great about them, and we're looking at nothing that's great about us. So we disengage and we become failures. So, and Preach what y'all saying. That's why I touched y'all. That's why I touched Dog. That's why I touched Big Illinois, because hell, we went to school and was like, we can again, no matter what walk of life you come from, you can relate to Preach.
Yeah.
And just seeing him playing Mr. Mason, I mean, it was one of those moments where, like once again, in the school, you had teachers that would come find you. It was, I remember many principals or a coach or a math teacher. It's like, he give us a test or she give us a test. She going down the hall because you know where you're at. Like, why are you skipping in the gym? What are you doing in the band auditorium? What are you doing over here? Like, you're supposed to be in class. When those teachers know that you have the potential and you're throwing it away, it's like, why are you not taking this test? What do you need for me to help you succeed at this? Because something has got your attention.
Yeah. Shout out to Patricia Mason. She jumps in. She must have popped in on one of the jokes. Was telling. Yes, Big Illinois. Two Broke Girls. He was on that show too.
That's right.
That was from 2011 to 2017. So he was on that show for a good minute. Also, a great point here from Shaka. He played the original Ant-Man character in SNL. He also had a small part in the Ant-Man movie. Somebody agrees with me, and that's because D-Grade is on the West Coast. That's got to be the only why. Red Lines. That was a comment from earlier. He watched this a few months ago. The scene got to him. The part was very important because Preach got out of his feelings about Coach Ease and went looking for him. Yes. And then when he found him, he was sleeping with his, that was his ex-girl, because he was going after Brenda. But still, that he kind of broke it.
I think maybe what D-Grade is saying is that, this was after he had already caught him with his girl. And so he was mad at him. But then when Robert and Stoney now was looking for him and he realized that he was in trouble, he put his feelings aside and said, okay, I'm mad at him, but he's going to be in trouble, Right. So he went to go try to look for him at that point, So that's what he's meaning. Instead of staying in his feelings about it, which they were on the subway, him and Brenda just got back together. And she's talking with Coach Cheese was at the restaurant later with Coach Cheese, whatever. And then she said, yeah, well, he left going looking for such and such and such. And then it clicked to him. Okay, he in trouble. So I need to get off of this train and go try to find him,
Right. And that was that was a really great scene because that showed that, hey, I still got your back, even though we're not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, you did it wrong.
Yeah.
You broke the bro code.
Right. That was probably the worst murder scene ever, though.
What you mean, man?
I mean, they punched him a couple times. He had that ketchup packet on his.
He hit his head on the steel thing, man.
It
was an accident, man.
He was still moving. He was moving his head. He lifted his head up. I was like, oh, okay, he must be good. And then he was
so let me give you some cinematic genius that saved it. Okay, I'm serious. Cinematic genius in that movie is when Preach was screaming, crying, but you couldn't hear him because of the speech of the subway. That was cinematic genius right there.
That was genius right there. I'll put that down in my notes. I got to give you that.
Yeah, that was cinematic genius. So yeah, it was a little weak. You know, you thought he was just. I thought he was going to moved a little bit after that. You know,
I was like, okay, let's got a little concussion or something. I thought he was going to wake up in the hospital.
Yeah.
But no, that didn't work.
And if he had a little non-cinematic genius, when he was on Clybourne basketball court and he shot like this,
I was like, "You on the basketball team?"
To get him some of these, I was like, "What is he doing?"
That was right there when he did that and he held it up like that.
Yeah,
that was the birth of Freddie Boom Boom Washington for Welcome Back, Kotter. You know, so that role as Coach Cheese got him that role as Freddie Boom Boom Washington. They like that dude we can do something with, you know. Yeah. So that was all Freddie Boom Boom Washington right there.
Swish.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what is he doing?
All right, so basically they thought that the guys that Coach Cheese and Preach snitched on them, but that's not actually how it happened. Mm-hmm. It just ended up that the teacher was sticking up for them, you know, Mr. Mason. But it's like it didn't get translated. Like. What it looks like. Perception is reality. So now this, I want to kind of do a comparison. Didn't Kanye have a line in one of his lyrics talking about when Coach Cheese died? I don't know, it was one of his songs. I don't remember which one it was. I don't know, A-Trap, if you...
This is the one Chicago topic that H-Rap is totally ignorant purposely. I hate Kanye West. I knew him before he was famous, and I hate him now.
You hated him back then and now?
Yeah, I'll tell y'all off air, but and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't like Kanye.
Yeah. Now I agree with you, Doc. That was genius. We was yelling and nobody can hear him. Mm-hmm. It was nobody there, but plus the train going by, that just made it like, you know, that was definitely a great scene. Mm-hmm. But obviously in a movie you gotta have, there's got to be somebody that dies, even in Disney movies. Somebody dies. It's true.
There's people say you gotta have somebody that dies.
There has to be something that dies.
Have somebody die in every single movie. That is not a prerequisite.
Something has to die, and then there has to be some type of resurrection. Watch every single Disney movie. I tell you, somebody dies.
I mean, nobody died in Shrek.
So he says somebody died in every movie. Wow. You gotta go there, man. Wilkes, that's your homeboy.
Oh man.
In every single Disney movie.
It's true. I watched pretty much all of them.
Ben said you need it, man. It's inevitable.
Hilarious.
Oh man.
Let's see. D. Gray said they thought they snitched because they got released before Stoney and Robert,
right?
Which made them upset. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So so that death scene was an accident. Is that what you're saying?
No. What you mean?
When Coach Cheese died, somebody said,
it was an accident. They didn't try to kill him.
Because when they punched him, he turned around and hit that pole.
He hit the
blunt force trauma.
Yeah. Now, at the funeral scene, when the priest is like sitting behind the bushes, and he's like,
because he didn't want to go. You know, he didn't want to be, you know, he wanted to show his respect, but he didn't want to be there, didn't want to be seen by the folks, didn't want the conversation. It was going to be more painful to have to experience it with everybody, you know.
Somebody agree.
Oh, man.
I just.
Oh, God.
Appreciate that, Big Illinois. Good looking out. But and then he kind of referred to a scene earlier, basically talking about let's pour out a little liquor for the homies, basically. Go ahead, H.R.
This in true theme of Fourcast, this is another African tradition. Libations for your people is an African tradition we continue to grab hold to our heritage without even knowing it.
Right.
And it's a
So
wonderful
true.
situation.
Right.
That's so true. Going back to High on the Hog, we eat some of the same things that we don't know why we're eating it, but this is because it's in our lineage from long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doc, you gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I thought when when Preach was walking as the cars were pulling off from the funeral and he was pulling in, one of the things Pooter was upset about is because he didn't see Preach. And that was bothering him. And as he pulled off, he looks up and sees Preach walking to the gravesite. And that kind of gave him a little bit of relief, so to speak. And Preach just kind of smiled at him a little bit, to let him know we good or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
So I thought that was a fantastic scene. The way they did that, where he's walking up as they walking off, and half the cars didn't see that, but a couple of folks did.
Yeah.
Even Brenda was at the funeral.
Yeah.
The homegoing scene
It looked like she was looking around for him.
They were trying to make sure that was evident that they were trying to figure out where was he at.
Where was he at? Yeah. Because I would have thought he would have been there, kind of right beside everybody else, because that was his boy.
Which
it stuck up for each other.
I can relate to him. He couldn't take that, man.
Yeah.
And plus, they wasn't quite right whenever it happened. So in essence, he passed away when we were not on good terms. So. And he figured maybe if we were, maybe I would have been with him, et cetera, et cetera.
I was trying to find if I felt like that, especially with him, wanting to go to Hollywood and be a successful writer. I was trying to find if that character was slightly based on somebody that was existing, but I didn't find anything. But Ace Rap might know.
It's not based on the character, but a dude in the movie ended up being Preach. In the basketball scene at the high school, Preach and Coach Cheese walk into the gym. Robert Townsend busts up and goes,
"That's right.
I got Coach Cheese."
That's right.
Who, at the end of the day, Preach is Robert Townsend.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
That's a great point, and that was a great cameo right there. He had one line. That was great.
Yeah.
He should have said, "Work on your phone."
He should have said, "Get in the gym with Ben Simmons."
But how influential was this movie to a guy like Robert Townsend, right? He's got this bit role in it, not even that, a cameo basically. You couldn't call it a cameo because he wasn't nobody,
Right.
He was really damn near an extra, at the end of the day. He was just one step above an extra because he had one line, But just think of how influential that was to him and where he ended up, So that's why you got to give Cooley High credit.
And I just thought about what Dog brought that up. He actually, I guess he put that together. They had a small reunion last year, and he was hosting it. Robert Townsend.
Robert Townsend.
Yeah, so that was pretty full circle.
And see, a lot of people don't know Pooter was in Car Wash and Which Way Is Up. So he played in a couple other little black movie films as well, So I very influential movie, man.
Yeah, it launched the career of what they call a bunch of working actors. Because I was watching the show recently, and they asked the question, which one would you rather be, an Academy Award-winning actor or a working actor? And most of the people who are actors were sitting there saying a working actor, because at the end of the day, Samuel Jackson is a working actor. He will never get an Oscar or anything, but he's in everything. I can't think of this one dude. He played the role. If y'all ever seen this movie, Devil in the Blue Dress, he played the role of the dude cutting down the trees. He's in everything. I don't know his name, but he's in everything.
Yeah.
He also was in a movie with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. He's played this dude who's kind of nuts. It was like, make me a working actor. One of my favorite actors, Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, yeah. Chicken Man.
Right. The Chicken Man. But look, check this out. He go far back as Trading Places. Jail scene.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Was he in Do the Right Thing too?
Getting out.
Yeah, Jigaboos and the Wannabes. Yeah,
he was Big Brother Dean Almighty.
There you go.
But you know, he's nobody to most people, but he's everybody to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a scene that was kind of another kind of ad lib where they got it on tape. So when Preach is in the kitchen, his mom gets home late and she tells him to go
That's
get
it right
belt.
there. Yeah, D Great just commented on that.
Yeah, go get the belt. And they caught her saying that, you know, I'm tired. I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah, that's right.
What it was is that she got tired of reshooting that scene. So they just kept it in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, and she told him, "I'm tired. I ain't gonna do. You know, I'm tired. I ain't gonna do it again." And then she just sat there and she kind of went to sleep. But that when she said that wasn't supposed to be in the movie.
Wow.
And they just kept it in there.
Well, yeah, she worked. Yeah, I think D Gray said 2 jobs. She said she worked 3 jobs, man. Yeah. And I count on you. And that's another thing, man, that's so real and resonates with a lot of folks in the Black community, man. We had, you know, back when me and my sister were probably 8, 9, 10. You know, my mama was working 2, 3 jobs, you know, throughout the course of the week, man. And they count on us to act like we got some sense when they have to be at work. You know, I'm out trying to provide for you and hustle and get it on. Don't make me have to have added stress because you acting a fool, you know, and whatnot.
We saw that in Concrete Cowboy with the mom.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Don't make me have to come up to this school.
That's a story. Really. Don't put that on me. You know, you see what I got to do every day. You know, try to make the rest of it easy on me.
Right.
Yep. And Wilk's comment, folks, is the reason why you need to watch the Fourcast every week. Right there, you're gonna get something that you don't get anywhere else, especially from the perspective of the 4 of us. Clifton Powell is a prime example. That dude has been in a ton of movies. A ton of movies. And I heard, I think Samuel Jackson did an interview where he said, if I'm in something, I'm getting paid for it. So I'll act as long as I can in as many roles as I can because I'm getting paid for it, and you're gonna continue to see my name. And yeah, the list of Samuel Jackson movies is long.
I think Michael B. Jordan has the ability to do that. I think he can become that person that will eventually, maybe, hopefully, he'll be in like different roles and things like that. Maybe. I feel like he can do that though.
He can do just about anything at this point. Yeah. Well, without remorse.
And of course, our other boy from Atlanta, he's been in everything. He's in this cowboy movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, I know.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield. I mean, he's blowing up and everything.
You can't call him underrated anymore. The dude he's here. Mm-hmm. Everything he's doing.
Go ahead.
I want
to piggyback off what Dolph said. He referenced his sisters, and like Dolph, are you the oldest though?
No, my Nicole is the oldest.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, like I'm looking at that, and it takes me back to my mother. My mother would cook 2 meals on Monday because she went to Malcolm X College, and my oldest sister, she would come home and pretty much put my mom, you had to put the meat or whatever in the oven.
Right.
She would do the sides. And, you know, so I could definitely identify that. And we were living in the projects at that point. So, you know, and like I said, it just keeps bringing me back to childhood, you know.
Right.
And
what you trying to tell me? Your mama cooked 2 meals and they made it to the second day?
She would cook.
I don't think you heard me. They made it to the second day. I'm gonna have to ask Big Illinois about this because I don't think them meals made it to Tuesday.
No, she would cook. She would cook a meal for Monday, and prepare the meal for Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So when me, my oldest sister, and my 2 older sisters got home, put the casserole dish in the oven, making bacon chicken, and my oldest sister Theodora would cook the food. And at the same time, my other sister Phyllis is teaching me how to read. When I walked in the Head Start reading because Phyllis used to have a pen pal. Read it for me. She's like, "No, you're gonna learn how to read. I ain't reading no more."
Yeah, Shaka is 100% right about that. My nephew, who saw that we were doing this show, pointed out the same thing. And what's happening was loosely based on Cooley High.
Yeah.
Yep, he's right.
Shout out to Kyler Briscoe.
I was gonna say I thought that was I've heard that before, but I didn't really research that.
Yeah, and he said next time catch closing credits and you'll see scroll with info. Yeah, and I think I like the ending too. I like the endings of movies where it tells you what the person did, even though you know it's fictitious, but you know, like, hey, he went in and did what he said he was going to do. This person did that. This person ended up in jail. This person died. So I like that ending because it gave you kind of some closure of what each character did.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of my favorite part. Go ahead, A-Trap.
Hey, that wasn't the fictional part. Stone and Robert were real people in my neighborhood, and Stone is still doing the Black Ensemble Theater interpretation of Cooley High to this day.
Really?
Wow.
Those dudes were real gang members.
Wow.
They were not acting. they were probably fresh off a robbery.
Wow.
Came straight to the set.
Yeah, oh, you came dressed for the movie? No, this is when we look.
You want me to read this? Okay.
Now,
it wouldn't shock me if they got terrorized into that.
Terrorized into
like, hey, we gang members. Y'all ain't gonna shoot this movie unless some of our brothers get in and Stone in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Stone and Robert, those were not fictional characters.
Real cats. So you said
robbers.
you said at the beginning,
criminal and a robber.
Robert named Robert. You said you were gonna.
That's it.
A-Trap, you said you were gonna bring it all around. Oh, that was it?
No, that was it. That Stone and Robert, because I knew you were gonna be like, it was cool the way they said this at the end. No, that happened. Stone and Robert were criminals that was in the movie. They were not playing.
Yeah.
And what said in the reunion, they said they ad-libbed. They was like Stone and Robert. What was
you say? It was a lot of ad-lib.
Y'all saying this part. Oh, well, it's easy. We're gonna beat them up.
Right. We know how to do that.
Yeah. We're good at that part. Don't worry.
For snitching, just roll the cameras. We got it. Boom, boom, watch this. We're gonna whoop you, man.
Yeah.
They really beat him up. Hey, Glenn Thurman, that train stopped him from crying for real. They beat him up for real.
Which, man, so now let's kind of talk about real quick. I know, Doc, you gotta get ready to roll in a minute, but so future roles that we remember Glenn Thurman by, for me, obviously, is A Different World. That's really all I think I really remember him from. Now I'll think Cooley High now.
Yeah.
And then Lawrence Hilton or Milton Jacobs, when he played Michael Jackson Daddy. That's the biggest role I can remember him from.
Yeah, he actually played in Roots and of course Welcome Back, Kotter. And then the cat from that did Different World, he also was a big actor on soap operas, through the course of the day. And he did some writing and directing too. So he's had a big time career.
He was married to Aretha Franklin for a while, wasn't
he?
Yep. Me and Wilkes, we looked that up at work. Not during this time. It was a long time ago, before y'all was around.
Right.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, he played in Penitentiary too. He was Leon the Lover's brother-in-law.
Wow.
He was his lawyer.
Have y'all seen Penitentiary?
No.
Wilson. Oh, we got
I say no, but I'm pretty sure I have to watch it.
We've got to watch
D-Gray. That's one of for real. That movie D-Gray just mentioned that popped up. That's a good black exploitation movie. That's a dope movie. It's wildly underrated. JD's Revenge is good, man.
How does that sound for me?
And it ain't good for a black exploitation movie. It's a good movie, man. I mean, of course, it's gonna be cheap, low budget, but
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we
JD. I think he played Isaac. Yeah, man.
Isaac.
D-Grade is Isaac?
Yeah, that's who it says he played, Isaac.
That's what.
I think I seen a clip of this one time.
Cause he got a big hat on the movie cover.
Didn't he? Wasn't he in a? Was he a pimp or something? Because he was slapping
I'm
some.
telling you, man, it's a good movie.
I seen the scene. I seen the scene from it. It was.
It's a blue and black. I almost call it an album cover. You know, the poster.
Yeah.
And he just sitting there like this.
All right, let's get to the mics, which throwback edition of Cooley High review. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Wilkes,
I'm probably right there with you, 3.5. But as far as like, you know, them having, which I don't know about anybody else, like especially a lot of the lady actors, we didn't really mention most of them, but I felt like they were just one-timers as well too. But were they even really actors? They just got regular. I feel like they just got regular people, and they did their job. I mean, they did well. So yeah, I would say definitely a 3.5. But the acting from that standpoint, I thought was pretty good. I just felt like it was natural, like it wasn't forced.
right. And I meant to bring this up, but the funny scene with at the house party, where she was like, "Don't what's she say? Don't lean up against the
on the front." The brake front.
My mama said there was a lot of my mama said.
My mama not done paying on it.
and then she slapped the dude and ended up breaking it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, boy,
Brothers.
she got beat to death.
Yeah. Check out the movie Brothers, starring Bernie. Okay, I don't know if y'all seen that one. I haven't heard of that, but
it's another movie that Glenn Turman is in that we forgot. Deep Cover.
I forgot about that. He's been a good man.
All right, Doc.
Wilkes mentioned the female actors. Lynn Carradine, I had to look at her image, but she played Dorothy. She went on to play in a couple of other films, so she's had a relatively significant acting career as well. For me, I was at a 3 mic situation as I was thinking about this, but I did up it to 3.5 mics because of the influence it had on future film and TV. So I think 3.5 mics is the perfect slot for it. So that's exactly where I'm at.
All right. A-Track.
I'm going for the Homer pick. 4.
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
Why?
No, I actually believe it is because of what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that inculcated into the movie, I give it a 4 because you do have people that launch careers. It set the stage for several other movies and basically to be outlined like it, whether it be Do the Right Thing. I mean, not Do the Right Thing. School Days, whether it be Boys in the Hood, whether it be Menace to Society, and because it was so accurate, a lot of people call it low budget and say, well, they ain't had the money to mess it up, but because they didn't have the money to mess it up, and because they can't touch it. Because think about it, the more money you had, the greater the mistakes you can make.
That's true.
They would have edited out his mother's mistakes. They'd have edited out, hey, Glenn, you going crazy. I never know that. I've seen the movie 10, 11,000 times, But just the impact on the movie because, and then again, it might just be a Chicago theme because if you are between the ages of 40 going backward and older in Chicago, you've seen this movie several dozen times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they used to play it after school at 2:30, from 2:30 to 4:30 on ABC. Come on at late night on Saturdays. And it was always on TV. So it's just, and then when I grew up, I didn't live in the neighborhood initially. Then we moved into the neighborhood. I'm walking around getting to know people. And so I'll give it a 4. It is partially, I would say, I was going to give it a 3.375, but I'm going to give it a 4 just because of the impact.
You were about to pull a Price is Right, like me. Appreciate that big one, Noise. All right, so Cooley High. I think it was a great review. We'll discuss what we're going to do next week. We can talk about that, and we're going to do classic movies once a month or monthly, I should say. So definitely be on the lookout for that. He said, I also believe Cooley High was a precursor of Chicago TV movie filming. Maybe. Next, y'all should do Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Hey, that's a shot at me. I don't like clowns. I'm not afraid of clowns either. I just don't like them.
Oh man.
So we're going to leave you guys with It's So Hard to Say Goodbye from Cooley High. And A-Trap, we'll send it to you, as you always do. Close us out.
Closing us out with salute to Reggie O'Shea. First of all, man, I want to say rest in peace to my excellent friend who I met 5 years after this movie was filmed. His name is Robert Walker. Transition today. It's an awesome brother, man. Rest in peace, Rob, and my whole crew, man. We're going to be okay. Kind of sad, and I really appreciate it. Once again, man, I thank you guys for lifting my spirits. Y'all been doing this since we've been doing this. But rest in peace to my excellent friend. He's not a good friend. This is a dude, in the 40 years I've known him, I've never seen anything but a smile on his face. And that's, a lot of people say, you always smile. No, Rob is always in a good mood. Last time I seen him, he was in a good mood. I posted the last picture on Instagram that we took a couple years ago. My community, we do cookouts annually. And we have 3 or 4 cookouts a year. And all you have to do is show up and eat and drink, and nobody asks you for a dime. Nobody asks you where you're from. They just, hey, who are you? And you can just say, I'm Dog. I'm Trey. I'm Wilkes. And they go, oh, what's up, man? And welcome you in. And Rob was one of the very first people to welcome you in to anything. So rest in power, Rob. Till I meet you, until I see you again. You're going to be greatly missed. You are a staple in our community. You're a staple in our crew. And you're going to be missed, brother. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to Reggie O'Shea to empowering me to do my show. And he used to end his shows by saying, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. And life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. And as usual, shout out to Craig Smith from Craig Facts. And I want y'all to know, if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
Peace.